Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct the arguments from a Fox News report that's all about a series of economic wins under the Trump administration. Our whole goal here is to really break down how this narrative is put together, looking at the exact data and perspectives they use in the source.
Okay, let's dive right in. The entire piece really kicks off with this one central claim. It sets the stage for a story of nothing but economic success. So the big question is, how do they back that up?
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to break down their case into 6 parts. We'll start with the main story they're telling, then dig into the key numbers they use, look at the whole wages versus inflation debate, the role of deregulation, an interesting counterargument they include, and finally, their prediction for a future boom. All right, first up, the big win narrative. You can think of this as the main thesis of the whole report. The idea that the economy isn't just doing well, but that its success is a direct result of the current administration's policies. Now, to build that big narrative, the report really anchors its argument in a handful of key economic figures. So let's break them down one by one. The very first data point they highlight is the annual inflation rate. The source reports it has cooled to 2.4%, and this is framed as a huge positive, a sign that those rapid price hikes we've all been feeling are finally starting to slow down. Next up, jobs. The report points to the creation of 130,000 new jobs last month, but what's really crucial here is how they frame it, as beating expectations. That's a super powerful way to suggest the economy is actually stronger than even the experts were predicting. And paired right with that job growth is another positive signal, a drop in the unemployment rate down to 4.3%. So you put those two together, and the picture they're painting is of a very, very healthy labor market. And the final piece of the puzzle is the stock market, with the Dow Jones hitting a brand new high of over 50,500. So you've got lower inflation, more jobs, lower unemployment, and a soaring market. But the report argues this isn't just about big abstract numbers. It's about what's in your wallet. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. This is where the source connects all those big economic numbers to the average person's bank account. And the core of their argument really comes down to this tug of war between how much your pay is going up and how fast prices are rising. And the clip presents this really stark comparison. Their analysis claims that since Inauguration Day, wages under Trump, once you adjust for inflation, are actually up 2%. And they contrast that directly with the Biden administration, where they say the same measurement showed a 4% drop. And to make this point crystal clear, an analyst in the clip explains the real-world impact of that. Being 2% richer is framed as a direct, tangible benefit for everyday things, like your weekly trip to the grocery store. Then the White House press secretary is quoted, kind of packaging this whole idea up. She calls it an increase in American purchasing power, which she says is the greatest measure of affordability. So you can really see the thread here, linking the big data to your daily life. So, if purchasing power is pillar number 1 of the argument, the next big pillar is all about deregulation. And the source zooms in on a really specific policy, rolling back vehicle emission and efficiency rules. Like the one that makes your car's engine shut off at a stop sign. This is presented as a move that's all about promoting consumer choice. And of course, they put a big dollar figure on it. An administration official is quoted in the report claiming that this deregulation will lead to over $2,400 in savings for a family buying a new car. And this is just a brilliant illustration of the battle over framing. The report shows how different people and different outlets look at the exact same policy. You got the New York Post calling it a man on a mission, the Wall Street Journal calling it a liberation, and then former President Obama with a completely different take, calling it less safe, less healthy. Now, to be fair, the source material does include one pretty notable counter-argument to its main narrative of economic success. A Democratic congressman, Brendan Boyle, is quoted directly, and his argument just completely flips the script. He basically says, forget inflation. The administration's own tariff policies are the things that are increasing costs for Americans, and he even labels them reckless. So finally, the report doesn't just look at what's happening now. It wraps things up by looking ahead, suggesting that all of these data points are actually signs of something much, much bigger on the horizon. The source makes the case that a boom is coming by pointing to what they see as a perfect storm of factors. You've got strong wage growth, productivity gains getting a boost from AI, companies putting money back into their employees, bigger tax refunds, and a super optimistic GDP projection of 3.7%. And to put a specific date on it, The press secretary is quoted one last time, tying it all together with a very clear prediction. An economic boom is on its way in 2026. So, what we've really seen here is how a compelling story about economic success gets built. It's done using very specific data points, quotes, and perspectives. And after deconstructing all of that, it leaves us with a final question to think about. When economic data is presented to you as a narrative, which are the numbers that really matter the most to you?